You might be wondering where I've been. Here I am. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another video that is different than before. That's right, it's different. It's a talking head video that is here to explain something you might be thinking about, which is where has Raynday been? What has he been up to? How's life? Is he gone again? Is he gone for real? And also, what is next for the channel? What is next for me? What is next for all of you who have been around and supported my content forever? This is a video about that. So if you don't care about that, then, go ahead next. But if you care about it, and like I'd say, if you care. If you don't know if you're going to care, stick around for a little bit because obviously I'm a YouTuber, I'm an esports caster. I'm in the content creator entrepreneur business and I've been running this for a long time. And sometimes across the internet, I'll see videos where people do this. And I find it interesting because as a creator myself, I know a little bit about, what can go on and like getting a peek behind maybe stuff that doesn't normally get shared in videos that you would have to know if you saw this person in person and talk to them in a green room is kind of cool, and it helps add perspective to my life. So whatever that is, I hope that's worth it for you guys. Let's start off with the first thing that's been happening. Over the course of the last year, I've had a lot go on. We bought our house in November. Huge blessing, huge blessing. We get to live in California. It's not an easy place to buy a house in. We both work very hard, for this opportunity. And we also said it's going to mean we got to keep working hard in some ways because we have a daughter coming up. And do we want to do this? Do we want to rent? I know a lot of you people who might stumble across this video or who might be, have seen my content before are in, genres of my age. Maybe you're a little older by 10 years, maybe a little younger, but, owning a house, starting a family, these are things that are interesting to you. And I'll say that it was certainly a choice. We didn't have to go this route. We had been renting for a long time. I'd been, renting an apartment in San Diego. When we moved back out here, we rented a house to get closer to that and also closer to like what it costs to really, be paying a ton of money, for each month. And like, how can we handle that? Will my job be consistent enough? Will it have the right spikes? Will her job be? And we found that it was, And so for me, I with her felt that this was the right step for a lot of different reasons. Anecdotally, I'll tell you this, the reason I got in was because I tried to get into the housing market in California back when the rates were so good. And the issue that I came across was people were literally bidding 100,000 over asking. And I was like trying to go in with asking, right? I'm like, I got enough for a down payment right now. Like things have been going well. I have an opportunity to like get some property. My parents don't own a home. We used to own a home. That home we lost in the 2008 market crash. There's a lot of things in that story, but we call it what it is. That's what it is. We haven't owned a home since, and they still don't. And they love their life. I love their life. But I felt like it was a good thing for us, and I couldn't even get in, man. I couldn't even get in because there was so much money, and it would be like a $900,000 condo in San Diego, and we try to get in, and then the next day be like, yeah, well, they're offering $1 million cash. Can you compete with that? And I'd be like, no, I can't. Sorry, and I don't know who can unless I'm a businessman from out of the country, And I think that's like what made me feel that this was a good time to buy the house. So, that was a big change for us. We could get in. It was a property that we loved, in an area we loved. It was kind of right time. Woman wanted to sell. And long story short, we made it happen. And I'm really happy about that. And there's been a lot of learnings from it. But there's a lot of potential here. And I'm really, really excited for us to grow into it. Obviously, we had our daughter after that in February. And I say all this to prep that she's 7 months, pretty much, like in the next couple of days. She's the apple of my eye, the cutest thing in the world. And a lot of my life has changed because of her. And I would say like in February after the house, going through the holidays, I wasn't the healthiest version of myself. I could have definitely been a lot healthier in a lot of different ways. And what I got clear on was I needed to look at this moment and say, this is either going to be an excuse. It's so crazy in life that I have to do these things like overeat or maybe, stay up late and kind of revenge, stay up and get time for myself and wake up tired the next day, overindulge in things where it'd be cool if you had a little bit, but if you have too much, you're feeling like, wow, my day's ruined the next day. I got to the point where I felt like I was just doing all these things to escape my life in some ways. And I realized that very quickly, when she was around, that I wanted to be a better version. And I wanted to be someone who, when things got tough, I actually use that as fuel to be better and use that as fuel to get my stuff together. And I thought that it was a great wake up call because it was something that I've always done in my life. Being an athlete, many of I was drafted to the MLS. I played high level soccer my entire life, and 4 years at UCLA, and it was national teams, and it was my whole life, and that part of me is real. But I think I've chased a lot of like what's my next career, and in some of those ways I had lost touch with some of that discipline. I'd gained this other creativity element, but I'd lost some of that discipline and that excitement that I think is so connected to Raynday Gaming. And so I say this to say that I kicked off this very strong health kick for myself, and it's been great. And hopefully you guys notice it in me. Hopefully you notice it, and when you see the broadcasts, when you see the videos, you feel it. I feel so much better, and that's been a big part of me putting time into my life. So from various 12-week programs of like 4 kind of ramping up AMRAP workouts that kind of scale and build upon each other, that you do for 4 weeks at a time, move on next segments of 3 different types of workouts for another 4 weeks. I probably dabbled between about 18 weeks of that in a row. I would say I did one 12-week one. I'm on another one. Took a break or two in between. It's been great. And I also have done some really good things for my health. I went on a couple of diets. I cut out anything that was really not whole foods, and I felt so much better. And I noticed that my life started to transition. I started to have more energy. And again, I still wasn't putting out videos in the same way. And I know you guys are like, well, how does that get to us? But it made me realize that where my priority was a lot of times being with my family and as a father. And coming into fatherhood, we've had a lot of different adjustments to that journey. And I know anyone who's a dad out there, anyone who's becoming a dad, or I have several friends who are becoming dads, and I have several friends who have been, just became dads. Going through that process of change is a change of identity, but it's really a change of your resources of time. You grow into it for sure. Like you step up into being a dad, but you also realize you don't have the same time, and where your time goes is much more valuable, especially when you're saying, well, I'm either going to hang out with my child or not. And I think for me, what I knew was, as much as I would have loved to be 6 hours streaming, 6 hours on video, which earlier in the year I was doing 5 to 8 hour streams every single day, very consistently. But it wasn't the type of thing where I was promoting it to you guys on YouTube. I wasn't making it eventful where it was like, let's come, we're going to do this crazy thing and viewer games. I wasn't building that community that way. And it didn't just happen naturally. And part of it was because I was just going through the motions. I wasn't making the big changes and taking accountability radically that allowed me to be as effective as I wanted to be. And so I realized that wasn't a good use of my time. And that's where I found just some really good clarity in that I need to get these things handled. And then the next stuff will follow. And what that led to was, doing 90 days of this here, doing 90 days of that, of clean eating, doing 90 days of, I've never smoked in my life. I will, enjoy a glass of wine or a martini or a cocktail, as adults can do. But I decided to let go of all of that. So, all of those types of things, from sugars to anything like that, I was just saying, let me just take care of myself to the highest and best level that I could. And that then has resulted in a lot more energy. So now I feel like I'm able to come back to what it is, whatever it is that my creative passion is, and be effective, whether it's for you guys, whether it's for building something different, or for my family as well. And that also leads to this idea that, like, you guys probably haven't seen me in a minute because we've been 2 months of a break since we went to Riyadh and Saudi Arabia for the ALGS, to doing what is now tomorrow my first ALGS show since early July, and it's September 5th. So, you've got this kind of time that's been given to us to reset. And I think that's something the ALGS has to look at. I mean, it's something that I think could be changed next year. And it's also something that they might just stick with. It might just be the way things are. I'm not here to judge it. I obviously think a more connected ecosystem of timing is the best. And I think more Apex is the best Apex. But I understand why these decisions have been made. I understand we've been building around certain tournaments and certain things like championships coming up in Japan, not just next year, but the year after that. Maybe now that we have enough runway, we'll be able to build less dead time into some of our split cycles. But that's up for EA. That's up for people in charge of the LGS to figure out. However, when I have time, take advantage of it. And I've hosted some great Twitch rival shows. This year has been awesome. I've done my first Warzone show. Shout out Goj and Tiff. I did a show with Elden Ring, which was Night Rain, which is super, super fun. I did a Balatro show, which is one of my favorite games that I've been able to play. I mean, I did a rematch show, which is, man, come on, soccer. That was like perfect. I loved doing that. And I actually would really like to do either FIFA or rematch at some point too, because I feel like I just like, being involved in football, in soccer, in my life. And so hopefully those opportunities show up. I'd certainly be available to them. But again, the consistency of Apex and that is something that's been a big part of my life. And I know that probably for you watching, maybe you who have been playing and maybe change things and maybe you're playing different games. Maybe you're interested in something that I'm not covering. It's been, I don't want to say it's separated us, but it's kind of maybe feel like we're high school friends. So if you saw me at the reunion, you'd be like, man, I love you, man. Man, I love you. I hope you're well. Send my love to the family. Boom. And then we never talk again. If you found me at the day one of Apex and now you're doing something else. And for me, I don't feel good about that. I keep in touch with my high school friends. I really do. Like, I've known my friends for 20 years and they're not high school, they're middle school friends. And they're groomsmen at my wedding, and they're my boys. And that's just the way that it is. And I don't need to add too many new friends. I can. I like having friends, but when it comes down to like, if I really love a person or a content creator, I try to stay with them. If HD StarCraft and Togrim were still making videos, I'd be watching them. You know what I mean? And I'd be checking in on them. And Force Strategy Gaming, the guy who got me into Smite, I follow his career consistently because he's one of the first people that I watched and enjoyed on YouTube and continued to love seeing the journey that he goes on and how he's changed, grown in Overwatch and changed and gone back and done all these cool things, man. So it's just really inspiring. And that's led me to, what do I do during some of these breaks and how do I relate to you all again? And I think from a content perspective, I'm really hopeful that over the next half of the year, and maybe not this immediate next 3 months, but maybe the final 3 months or the start of next year, we jump into another run of where this channel, my channels from Instagram to TikTok to, Twitter, everything, we really have some intention and some focus and not just anything like creativity or production where we actually put things out. And I feel like if I look at myself and I go, where's one thing that I could be better at? And it's putting out things consistently from a content perspective. It's not even about being the best content. It's about letting this video as it is right now exist. And I've been afraid to do that. I don't know if you've ever been afraid of things like that because you want it to be perfect. You want it to sound right. You want people to get you and to understand you. And I have to realize, like anyone who steps out into the public world, that there's going to be times that you just aren't understood. And you have to be okay with producing anyway, because your freedom is on the other side of those actions. Like my freedom, my awareness, my bigger experiences in life are on the other side of that. And my thing that I'm resisting, which is, oh, well, I don't want to be seen a certain way. Oh, I should edit this. Oh, but I don't have an editor anymore. So then I should not put it out, which is what we do in our lives. Well, I should go to the gym, but I can't go to the gym today because I feel terrible because what I did last night. So I'm not going to go to the gym. So then I'm just not going to go to the gym because then I didn't do anything today. So I'm going to make myself feel better tonight. I'm going to go out again. Then I'm going to feel terrible the next day. I'm not going to start it off. And it's going to be my reason again to not do what I need. Instead of that being our paralysis, let that kind of be our wake up call and say, you know what? I'm just going to go to the gym 100 days in a row. I'm just going to count. And I'm not even going to have to do anything. My goal is one pull up or one attempt at a pull up. And if I do other things, great, but that's not my goal. I'm just going to do one pull up and go to the gym for 100 days. And what you'll realize after that is you'll realize I've never been to the gym 100 days in a row. That was the first time I ever did that in my life. In fact, outside of school and even with school, because you have weekends off, I've never been anywhere in my life that I chose to commit to and do 100 days in a row. Ever. And then you'll see that that's a new experience. And you'll realize too that you do look better, feel healthier. And your whole world knows that no matter what you do the night before, no matter how you live, you're going to go to the gym. Even if you do one pull up, it's fine, but you will be going to the gym. And that starts to mean that everything in your life, when someone says, hey man, come out to this crazy place with us. We're gonna take a yacht over there. I mean, if you have a life like that, it's good for you. You know, we're gonna fly out to Vegas today. Great. I'm going to the gym when I get there at the hotel. Nah, bro, we're gonna hit straight to this. All right, well then we go. And I'm going back at 11:30 to go to the gym, and then I will come back out with y'all. What, bro? I don't want to pay for the extra Uber. Well, I'm just gonna do it, and I'll meet you guys in a second. Or I'm gonna, okay, we'll put the flight at 8 instead of 6 because I'm gonna hit the gym first. Then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna hit on the way. Your life starts to shift around your choice, and that choice becomes the guiding thing that then takes you to where you want to go. And so I say this because this has been a big part of my year. You know, I have realized that there's a lot of things that I've put off for the right way or the perfect way, and I just haven't done anything. And it reminded me that I needed to just say, I'm going to do this 12-week program of fitness because I haven't ever done it and finished it. I just have done 4 weeks. I've done 8 weeks. I've done 9 weeks. I've done it here and there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do 30 days of eating this way because I haven't done that in a while. I've done 5 days. I've done 4.5 days. I've done 10 days. I've never done the full program in the last couple of years. And it just started to snowball with all these different things. And I went back to where I was with the process of when I felt stuck 4 years ago in San Diego. And I didn't know if my wife and I were going to get together. I didn't know if we were going to make it work. We didn't have a kid. We didn't have a mortgage. We didn't have anything tied except just our love. And we'd been together for a long time. And I didn't know what was going to happen. And I felt a little stuck in some ways, although I was quite successful from some elements. You know, there's a lot of good things that were happening at that time. I felt stuck into like, well, when this goes, if I want to have a family, if I want to buy a house one day, what do I need to do? Because I feel stuck and I'm doing the same thing and it's not working. And I said, I want to be a better content creator. I see people thriving. I see people in front of me that I know and like dominating. You know, people you see these people and you go, what the heck is the difference? Right? Like I could do that. Like I love them. They're good, but I'm good too. So are you probably. So what's the difference? And to me, I thought, well, maybe they're just doing it. So I want to be available to experience success, and I want to put myself in the position to do so. And I did something I called the 90-day challenge. And I did this challenge, and I said, I'm going to create 100,000 followers on TikTok. Okay. I had 0. And, I'm going to create 100,000 followers on TikTok, and I'm going to do it in 90 days. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a video a day, and I'm going to do a video a day. And I think that's going to get the job done. Because the last time I'd done a video a day ever for that period of time was never. I've never done that. And I'll tell you a lot about it. But the better part to tell you is that throughout that process of those 90 days, I learned so much about just taking action. I let go of so many misconceptions and beliefs that I had about, like, you guys wouldn't like it. I would look silly. It wouldn't be good. And I just let it fly, man. And not only did I have multiple million view videos, millions and millions of likes, but over the course of those 90 days on social media, because I use them as shorts too, Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, I gained 92,000 followers. Okay. Now I've told this story before, and I tell it on stream and things like that. Twitch.tv/Raynday is my stream. You guys will see it in the links if you ever care about it. I'm sure you could easily find it, but I'm just saying, I talk about these types of things all the time there. But in videos here, I don't, because this is a gaming channel. I love gaming. But obviously, I'm not putting out gaming videos right now. I'm not doing as many videos as I can. So I I'm like doing the same thing over and over again where I'm going, it's not the right thing, it's not good enough, you guys won't care. But maybe you don't, maybe you do, or maybe when I put it out, I learn something that helps me refine the next video, the next video, the next video that then leads to the dam breaking. And I realized that my process was so impactful to me. You know, it opened, I would say, $20,000 plus in sponsorships that year from TikTok alone, which is, I mean, that would change a lot of people's lives. It certainly helped my life in a big way as well. Um, but it also gave me the clarity that if I get clear on the right thing to do, which I haven't done, and I get clear on the thing I want, and I keep kind of chiseling away, but I maintain action, that pretty much you could have a different life 3 months from now than you do here. And not only different in terms of your results, you would feel completely different about your ability to go ahead and make something happen that isn't happening now. When you feel stuck, it's this kind of thing that they'll never be able to get out of it. And you could change that. And I've changed that. And so this year, I realized that challenge. I realized what came from it. And I did it again for my health. I did it again for my well-being and my mental. And I'm in the process of doing it now again for my book. And that's another thing that I wanted to let you guys know. A lot of my content, my time right now is being spent on taking that idea of the 90-day challenge and codifying it, turning it into not just a book, but a guide on how anyone in the world who is interested in self-development, self-motivation, and jump-starting their life when they feel stuck can use this book to, in 90 days, come up with a plan to completely reshape the future of their lives. And I don't mean that lightly. I mean that truly reshape their mental, their emotional, their ideological vision for who they think they are. And to do that by taking these very simple, easily digestible steps and getting it done, and not doing something that makes you quit 5 days in, like the 75 hard program where, you know, I read the 75 hard, guys. I said, 75 hard? I'm 75 tired reading this. Like I'm literally, like I'm 75 years old before I'm even going to look at this again. Like, not that it's bad. I've had friends do it, but they were miserable. 2 workouts a day for 45 minutes, a gallon of water, nonfiction reading. Brother, you must not have a kid. Okay. If I get one 45-minute workout a day, I'm like the king. I'm like the king of kings. My wife's looking at me like, oh, well, that must be nice. Must be nice to work out. I mean, you got to be kidding me. The fact that, you know, that's something I would have killed when I was 20, when I was playing at UCLA, when I was a kid with my boys doing stuff, trying to grind into the world, when I was even in the position in San Diego, before I had a kid, before I had a house, all that. But right now, and for the rest of your life, life gets busier. There's things that are added. And you realize that if I have to give up everything in my life to do a challenge, it means that the second the challenge is over, I'm going to go back to where I was. And it'll be nice for a little while, but I'll be saying, thank God I'm done with that. And you probably won't do it again. And that's why I wanted to come up with a different way for people to actually enjoy finding ways to change their life and add to what they feel like was the most valuable aspects of who they want to be and bring that forward into the world. And so, long story short, guys, that's going to continue to happen. I do hope to update you guys with videos. I do hope to make Apex videos. I do hope to make gaming videos. And I want to close this video out with the concept of asking you all a question. Now knowing where I'm at, is that how do you want to be interacted with? What would you like? What games are you interested in? Is it more Apex content? Are they streams? Are there more videos like this? Are there other games that you guys are hype about, excited about? I've been playing games like The Bazaar, roguelikes, like, you know, He Is Coming, and you know, like I said, Balatro, these games that I like love and that give me that sense of like I could play quickly, I could pause, diaper duty or playtime, play a little bit of that, come back in, you know, and finish it up. And also these games that kind of give me the ability to connect with you guys as well, solve puzzles, solve problems, go into a different world, dip back out, not necessarily, rush, 300, milligrams of cortisol through my body because I'm so stressful about it. I love Apex. I love casting Apex, but the times of chasing like Predator and Master and Ranked probably a little gone for me from a content perspective. So if it's not that, what would you like to see from an Apex content perspective? There's stories that I've gotten playing with people. They've gotten millions of views talking about dynamics like this with Apex background footage, making lists, cultivating the ideas that I've gotten from the pro league and the top tier pros and synthesizing them into ways you guys can enjoy and like it. Those are things that could probably work right now, but I'm curious, where are you guys at? I realize this, and just to close, this wouldn't be possible without amazing partnerships and people that have been a part of my life. The ALGS, McDonald's, which is huge, and being with them for six years now, it's just been unbelievable. We've still got amazing things coming. With so many cool ways of connecting to not only their corporate leadership, but their actual fan bases, their sports teams like the Padres, the Kings. It's just really, really amazing. So it's all these opportunities, Twitch rivals who've been so cool at giving me all these opportunities to host different games. And I'm sure there's something really cool out there as well. I love hosting. If there's a gig, maybe there becomes something that I do consistently as well outside of Apex that becomes a really great gig that you guys connect with and makes sense for the videos. But outside of that, I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to know where I'm at, what I'm doing, and why that's kind of resulted in what we've seen on the channel. And one thing I didn't really mention is that, my wife's back at work now, and she had about 6 months off, which is amazing. But I'm taking up that first slot, so about 7 a.m. all the way to 1, I'm busy, I'm with my daughter basically. And I think that's obviously starting your day at 1 is not very efficient, especially when bedtime is at 5. And I do a lot of the cooking because I love to cook. I like my food. I know how to cook. I'm not saying anything about my wife. She's great. Listen, but at the end of the day, it's just a mutual decision that we like my food. And I agree with that. And I enjoy cooking. I post that on my Instagram all the time. I show you guys my menus. I made ramen, I made, kimchi, japchae, and Korean barbecue short ribs. I made real ribs, beef ribs on the grill the other day, salmon, bison burgers. I go in, guys. Maybe it's cooking. Maybe we start doing some Raynday cooking, some Rain Dad cooking, or maybe you guys want some dad content. I don't know. Listen, I don't. I honestly don't. And I think what I'm trying to say is there's freedom in not knowing. And every time I've done this and I've gone, I don't know, I'm going to let a little bit of my presuppositions of what it has to be go. I've learned. Obviously, my book is a lot of effort and energy that I'm putting into it, working on it every day, every single day in the editing process. So it is, my goal is that it is out this year. And hopefully you guys resonate with that. And if that goes really well, there's a lot of things that could flow from that too. So I do encourage you guys, if you're interested, to let me know. If any of the stuff I said sound interesting, please let me know. I love your feedback. I love talking to you, but most importantly, I want to connect and I want to let go of any of the restrictions I felt of connecting with you guys here. This is Raynday Gaming. This is me. This is from an idea that is now amassed 300 to 400 plus thousand of you over the course of this lifetime. Some of you have left, some of you would say it, some of you keep joining. But the truth is, the one thing that you all will respond to is me, and all have responded to at some point in time, is me putting out a video. So what's the most important action that I need to do is put out a video. I can't guarantee you'll respond or they'll respond, but I can guarantee that if I don't, no one will respond. Raynday Gaming would never exist. And what in your life, if you don't show up for, if you don't do, won't exist, won't be possible. That's the lesson here. And it's honestly not the reason I write these books, the reason I talk about this stuff is not because I need you to do it. I'd love it if you find inspiration, but it's a reminder to myself publicly of something that I already know deep inside that I just want to make sure that I follow through on. So guys, if you want to check in with me, come over to the ALGS tomorrow, twitch.tv/playapex. We'll be doing EMEA and North America. So all day you should catch me live pretty much if you're in the American or even European time zone, starting around the afternoon for Europe, or I guess the late afternoon for Europe. And of course, all day from the morning to the evening if you are in North America. But as always, my friends, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and I'll see you all next time. And also, not a plug, but this video has been uploaded to my YouTube channel in less than 2 minutes, thanks to Frontiers Brand new 2000 up, 2000 down internet. Come on, baby. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. I love y'all.